Hello. In this tutorial I'll be doing a tracing for Google logo using Inkscape. So we have this document and we have this canvas right now, and I don't like the size of it, so I'm going to shrink it down. So what I do is you just right click on the document, and then you have the document properties. So you right click and you press on, you click on the document properties. Once you do that, you are presented with a lot of variables here. So right here with the width, so I'm gonna make that the same thing with the height, so that way I make it square. And as you can see, the changes has been applied. So I got the image from Google. So what I'm doing is just Control V, or maybe if you want to edit and paste, that way you can paste the image. So right now what I'm doing here is shrinking the image or making it smaller. So the way to do that with the proper ratio is, what you do is when you select an image right here, so you are presented with the transformation tool, and if you press it again, that transformation changes into rotation. So what we are interested in is transforming the image, so resizing it. So what we do is we click it once. So again, if you click it again, you will see the rotation. So we have the transformation, and what we do, if you do this, you can see the image is not being there is no aspect ratio here anymore. So you can make it as wide as you want, or you can make it as thin as you want. So we're not looking for that. So what we do is we want to constrain the transformation, and if you press Control, you can see it's being properly resized or scaled up or down. And if you want to do the scaling from the middle, not from the opposing corner, what you do is you press the shift. So you're pressing Control and Shift at the same time. So right now I'm pressing and holding the Control and Shift just to transform the image. Okay, so we want to move to the layers palette, and the layers here, as you can see, we have the layers with the image in it, and I want to make sure that that layer is it's locked. No one can mess with it, no one can touch it, no one can make any modifications to it. And what you do is, at this moment I want to make the opacity a bit low. So what I do is I press on the square, press it down, and then change the opacity, and you can see the images, you can see the transparency going up or down based on the slider. I want to make it really low, then go to the parent and just lock it. That way no one can touch it. Before locking it, just change the name. So I'm gonna say here PG background, and then lock. And so I want to create a new layer. That's where I will place all my vectors in it, right? So what you do is you see here, add a new layer. You just press that and you change that to vector. So let's start off with the G, and we need the pen tool, as you can see right here, and then we start tracing. So when you do a click, you will start off with a hard angle, but if you click and drag, then that becomes a bezel. And if you press shift, press and hold shift, you can change the angle of the other side of the bezel. That way you can make curvature for the next anchor point. So right now I want to make sure that this line is straight, then press and hold shift, and then move the handle, the other handle, where it would be where you would expect your next curve. You can see a live feed, Same thing, you press and hold the left click on your mouse and you move the handle so that the curve matches the image. Same thing. This might require some practice. So with the next handle, with the next curve, you'd have to make a prediction here, like how long the handle you want this. So right now I think I don't need it to be this big to accommodate the next curve, and I was wrong. So that's okay, you can make the changes later on. And same thing right here. But this one is an interesting situation because the next curve has to be straight. So what I do is shift, press and hold shift, and change the handle to the appropriate direction, and this will create a hard angle on the curve. And now we do that. So here we don't have to press and hold shift, you just click and move on to the next one. Same thing as here, same thing as this one right here. And this one we can use a puzzle. You see, this area we need a hard angle, this area we don't. So same thing right here. And as you can see, like, we are making mistakes here. The good thing is you can always go back and fix those. So right now a color is being applied to it, so I don't want to see this color. So what you do is, you see right here, this is where your fill and strokes are. So I want to go to my fill and just set that to X, no paint. And I want to give it a outline, so I'm gonna give it maybe a black one. And you can also change the width of the outline. So let's go back to the image. So I want to select right here the anchor, the node tool. That way you can start fixing any issues with it. So right here I can see there's a little gap. I want to fix that. Here you can tell that this one is not doing well, so maybe you can make it smaller. And I did fix it, but you have to be careful. Right here you might create unwanted curve, so you have to be careful with that. So I do see some spill over, so like I need to fix that. So maybe fix that one up. So I can also see a gap here. When you double click on anywhere on the curvature, it adds a node tool, so a node, so that way you can fix it, and it adjusts to the adjacent handles. So this looks much better. Maybe this one, move it a little bit to the right. Yeah, and this should be a perfect one. Maybe here I can see a little bit of gap, I can move it in. And yeah, so let's move on to the G, or maybe the O, because it's a lot faster. So all you have to do is just a circle. You can press on the circle and just move it. Maybe we can reuse that circle. So what we do is we make sure it's selected, copy and paste. That way we create a duplicate and just resize it. Yeah, I can see some spill over here, so maybe, yeah, okay. So what we do in this case is we convert this to a path. So object to a path. So this is a perfect circle, right? So and this one is the same thing. So object to a path. And what we want to do right now, we want to subtract this from this. So how do we do that? Right here we see union difference. So this might be like a good opportunity to test them out. So the best way to do this is make sure you have a color on this one, as you can see. And if you go to the layers, you can tell this one is on top, so we want this one at the bottom. Maybe you want to change that to white, just to if you want to see the changes, right? So maybe to different color, just to see the effect. So what you do is you select these two and then do a difference, and you can see a new shape has emerged. And now Control copy and V, and I want to make sure I want to move this to the duplicate, Control D, and then if you press and hold the Control button key, you can constrain the axes. This one right here, let's look at the L. It's a straight square, so doesn't need much. Okay, let's take a look at the E, or G, sorry. So G, just like before, we use a circle for the internal, and then we are going to subtract that from the main shape. So what we do is we make it nice and circular, and then let's focus on the outside. So again, we use the pen tool. We zoom in. So the way I zoom in is I press Control and I use the track, mouse track. So when you scroll up, you zoom in. When you scroll down, you zoom out. So right here we can see a square, so we can start with that, and then use the Control button to move it on the x-axis, constrain it there, and then you press here and make sure it's not a bezel, and then you move it to the top and make sure the curvature is good. Move it to the side again. It's okay to make mistakes. Make sure you might have the full view, and then make your next curvature. And the good thing is it gives you a live feed. Wherever you move on the screen, it tells you how the curve would look. So right here, I know I will need to make adjustments. So when I click, I make sure the left mouse button is down, and then drag out, so we can tell there will be an issue here. So we do that, then press Shift to move the second handle, and then if you also press Shift and Control, you can constrain that handle. So this one is a straight line, and then we make that curvature again. See, because of this, it's too big. I cannot really make the appropriate change, and you shouldn't do this at this point because you only make things worse. So what you would do in that case is just accept the fact that you will need to make adjustment, Shift, and then make sure the angle is correct, and same thing. Just keep going. Just keep going. That's it. Very simple. So I'm gonna remove the fill. I just want to see the outline. I'm gonna go and make my fixes. So I select the node tool, select those anchor point, and just make it, just make those fixes. And if you don't want to see, like this one right here, if you don't want to see this, just double click on it. Right, so again we have this handle, we don't want it, so you press Control and double click on it, so it makes it angly. Right, so when you look at it, you can see the handle, but the other one has been removed. Okay, so this is good. And now, as before, this circle, this is an object, it's a recognizable object by Inkscape. We want to convert it into a path, so object to a path. And then let's add this one, let's give it a color, and let's move it down. So we go into layers, so this is the G, move it below the O, maybe this is the O. So select the G, the parent, then the child, and then path, and then difference. And there we go. Let's take a look at the E. Should be straightforward. We use the pen tool again, so we have two shapes that we need to create. So one to extract the part out of the main shape or main object. So this is easy, just simple straight line. Then we make, so this one will require some adjustment, and that's okay. And if you don't like the place of the node, all you have to do is just Control Z and then do it again. So maybe we choose a different area just to accommodate the shape, and then you see maybe we can do it differently. So it is okay to experiment as you build this, and you can always go back and then make your adjustment right here. So I'm going to undo and just change the location. Maybe pick this one. And then make it straight. So we do have, yeah. So I'm going to remove the film and work on the inside. So this is going to be quick, and then done. Let's fix this. Let's switch to the node tool, select this. So this needs fixing, right? So select that node and adjust the handle. Look at the other handle, how it's being affected. You can break that using these tools right here. So you can tell it that I want this node to have this effect, which means one handle is independent of the other. You could do that. This might come at a cost where it might create a not nice looking shapes or path. So this looks good. So again, let's give it some color, and this one, let's give it some color as well, just for presentation. We select the main object, then the child, make sure you press and hold the shift key, path, and then difference, and now we can see it being restructured. And yeah, so what we do is right now, so we can select all this object and change the colors. We can use the eyedropper tool. So let's go back to the layers, make this one, unlock it, and change the opacity to 100. And now we want to add the colors, then maybe remove the outline. So what we do is here, select the object and the eyedropper, or you can press D. So G, And now let's change the mouse tool, D, then press the S tool for select, and then the S tool for select the G, and then D to select the G, I or L, sorry, S for select, and then D for eyedropper, select the E, and D for, and let's remove the outline so we can select all of those. Go into the fill and stroke palette, and then go to the stroke and just remove any outline. And right now we have the Google logo. So this is the image and this is the vector. You can make this vector as big as you want. You can resize it, you can do whatever. Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.